Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today's video, I'm going to explain how I programmed the soul window. That's basically what we call it. It's this monster here, where it's invisible. You can't see it unless you use the player's superpower, which is the eyeball. And of course, you have to use the mirror to be able to see it. So let me explain how it works. So in order to spawn it, I have a trigger here where you walk out of it, it spawns. So as you can see, the monster is in the map, but you can't see it. That's because it's invisible, like I said. So if you use your right mouse button, in this case, which is using the eyeball, let's see if we can find it. There he is. So if I let go of the right mouse button, you can't see it no more. And it's still chasing me. 3 seconds later, it stopped chasing. Or you could use the mirror to figure out where it's at right now. Let's see here. Where is this gentleman? He is being sneaky. Where are you? Oh, you went back. Okay. There we go. I used the mirror. I can see him. So if you're not using your eye, then it stops chasing you. It goes back to wandering. If you use your eyeball, it will start chasing you, right? And then when you let go of the eyeball or right mouse button, 3 seconds later, it stops chasing you. Go back to wandering. So you see one, two, two. Oh, nope, just kidding. I got killed. But basically, you get the gist. Let me just explain how it works. So we have this simple trigger box. It's a very, it could have done better. It could have done something where equal to VP first person, right? But we only have one character that just needs to be tracked, so I didn't really need to do that. And then it just spawned the AI. It does it once. It spawns at the target point, which is randomized. So in the map here, we have all these target points all over the map. There's 10 of them. So it will get all those 10 random integer range. It'll get the transform, it spawns it, then it gets the actor that the class of the AI controller entity, and then it sets that as a variable. It get the BP entity, set that as a variable, and then it just forces it to spawn. And when it spawns, it checks the variable is it chasing player nonstop. If it's not chasing, then go to wandering. And the wandering rule setting is set to true, and the entity is set to invisible. So when it spawns, it tells the behavior tree that hey, the entity is wandering right now. That's the state is in. It sets that as the Blackboard variable. Stop wander phase. So for this right here basically says to the Blackboard here that is it wandering or is it not? So in this case, it says true. Okay, it's this is true. It gets passed to the blue value to the stop wander phase. And basically, if I can find, sorry, I have a lot of stuff open up. So basically, if it goes to, if this selector goes here, it checks is it moving to player. If it's not moving to player, is it phase zero? If it is phase zero, then it checks do you allow it to wander? Yes, I allow it to wander. So as you can see here, allow wander, stop wander phase. If it's true, then it does this thing where it waits. It get the speed of phase zero, which is 350, and then find the random point and move to. All right. And then if the player right mouse button click, that is set at the logic is right here. So you right mouse button click. If you press it once, it activate the eye effect. So it's just a post process effect for the first person character. So basically, you right click, you get this vignette, this black thing around the screen. That's basically what that is. Let's get in traffic. So right click and then use the eye, right? This is the animation. We have it scratched out right now, but this is legacy coding. We're supposed to just do that, but I'll just leave it this for now. And then it goes to then one and check to see if the BP entity or the soul window, this gentleman here, to see if it's valid. If it's valid, it's once it spawns, right? Basically, it sets it to where it's visible, because when you right click, it's supposed to be invisible for you. So that's basically what this is saying. And then it gets the act of all the mirrors that on the map and sets it so that way it becomes visible to the player. So when the mirrors spawn on the map, it's false, right? And what do I mean by that? So let me see if I can demonstrate that visually. I spawned the creature. Oh, that's a bit of a bug. Sometimes it doesn't spawn. I don't understand why. There we go. Let me see if I can find a mirror. Hopefully I don't get killed in the process as well. Okay, so I found the mirror. So you see this is the mirror. If you let go right click, see it becomes visible. Oh! But you get the point. So that's basically saying, hey, the mirrors are invisible. If you right click, then the mirror becomes visible to the player. That's basically what it's saying. And then it goes up and check to see if the AI controller is valid. If it's valid, then you set the move to player to true. So this right here is being called the AI controller. Basically, it's check to see if this AI controller exists on the map or not, right? If it is, then it sets the Boolean or move to player to true. It sends the variable to the parameter. Say, hey, Blackboard, the move to player is now set to true, and the Blackboard here will then set this value to true. So when you right click the behavior tree, the selector will go up here and you find out that, okay, this has been set to false. The chase mode set to false. So it will go down to the next one, move to player. It checks to see, okay, the condition of move to player is true because it was called to be true on the logic here. Then right here as well on the AI controller. And then it checks, is it phase 0? And if it is, get the speed, which is 350. And so set the speed of the soul window, the entity or the monster, set it to 350 and then move to the player, right? So basically that's kind of how it works right now. Now let's go back to PC controller. So after it sets the movement to true, move to player to true, then it checks to see, is it chasing the player non-stop? At this point, no, it is not. Okay, so then it goes up and it checks how many mirrors has been placed. And if there's only 0 mirror that has been placed, it just goes to phase 0, which is the 350 speed for the entity, sets everything else to false. So let me explain the logic of how the mirror plays work. So this mirror plays variable is set inside of the game instant here. And let me explain how that works. So in our game, we have it, the lead designer wanted so that way so on the top left, you can see that there is a number that is 350. That is the entity speed. Right now it's at 350. The player speed is at 420. Don't ask me why it's at 420. Let me demonstrate what I mean. Let me find a mirror. Okay, there's a mirror over here. Let me go pick it up. Let me just juke this entity real quick. So one thing I want you to realize is that when you hold on right click, the entity speed slowly gain more speed. So it had 354, now it's at 355. So the longer you hold right click, the faster this entity becomes. And that's what the lead designer wanted this entity to behave, or monster, or whatever you want to call it. I'll call it entity for now. So let me explain how the mirror works. So right now, you see how the number 0, the white number is 0 right now, that is tracking the mirror placed it. So if I placed my mirror here, the entity speed should set to 400 and the mirror placed it value should be set to 1. Boom. Now the entity speed is at 400. So now it's a lot faster. Okay. If I were to get myself a second mirror and place it, it should set the speed to 450. And also, assuming that I don't get killed, it's just a lot faster now, so I gotta be careful. Alright, so I got it. Let me just make sure I juke it. Oh, it almost got me. It was just right there, right behind me. Okay. So, the mirror placement value is at 1. The speed is at 403. If I place it, the speed of the entity is at 450. Boom. You can see that right there. So now I cannot outrun it. It's a lot faster than the player now. So basically, going back to the code, this basically checks, okay, if there's only 0 mirror that has been placed it, right, then go and set it, the phase 0 to be true. And if you go to phase 0, it set the phase 0 to true. It goes talk to the blackboard and say, hey, phase 0 has been set to true. So basically this right here is set to true. And then it goes to the behavior tree and it says, is this true? Is there only 0 mirror that hasn't been placed? Yes. Okay, do this, do that. And it checks, okay, if one mirror has been placed, then do this and that. And basically this basically set the speed of the entity. It just it doesn't do this. This is legacy code. It basically get the max speed. It add to the let's see. It set the default speed, then set max speed. Oh no! It's not done here. It's done at a different. I don't remember where I put it, but it basically set the speed to 400. Sometimes I don't remember what I did, so excuse me on that. But you get the gist. And you may be wondering, so how did this work, right? So this is done in the how does the mirror place value get incremented, right? That would be in the, where is it? Cost mirror in-game instinct. Basically, here it is. So when the mirror get placed, we have to also bring this here. Oh, okay. So this viewport, this blueprint here is done by one of our programmer. As you can see here, the blue represent a different programmer, pink represent the audio engineer, green represent me. So the other programmer has it so that when the line trace is line tracing this mesh here, it does something, okay? And then also when we place the mirror, I have it set so it goes to the game instant and increment the mirror placed it, and then it gets the entity variable and it checks to see if, okay, if it's 0, set the speed. There you go. Set the speed to 350. If it's 1 mirror that has been placed, it set the speed to phase 1, which is 400. And where is the phase 1 being called from? It's being called up for BP entity, and that is right here. So on the begin play, we have it. I have it so that way phase 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are hard coded, right? So that way in the, where is it? In the, if I could, the game instant, where, so in the game instant, it knows, okay, yeah, so this is 400, this 450, this is 500, and this is 550. Basically, that's what it is, right? That's how it knows that, okay, this is on phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the behavior tree itself will check the phase as well and set the speed, basically, right? So now let's say it's on phase 2. I understand how this works now. So they get the walk speed, which is now 450, right? And it asks the gradual speed increase. So the gradual speed increase is basically when you hold down right click, it speeds up slowly, just like how I showed you guys on the top left corner. And the way this works is it sets in the BP first person, or no, in entity. There we go. Where is it? Right here. So it says, okay, phase 0, you only want to gradually increase the speed by 0.001. Phase 1, the same thing. The lead designer wanted so the entity just speeds up a little bit. You can change this to 2, 10, or whatever it is if you so wish to do so. This is just for like more for the level design to play around with the speed of the entity once every mirror has been placed, right? So now let's go back to the PC controller. So now that we have figured out, okay, that's how the set 2, 3, 4 phase work. So each time, if it's one mirror that's been placed, it goes here. If it's not, it goes here. If it's true, go set phase 2 to be true. If it's not, false. Yada 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 yada. Right. I could have used a for loop for this, but at the time I didn't know how to use for loop. But now that I understand it, but basically, yeah. So set phase 4 AI controller. So AI controller blueprint is basically just where I set all the boolean. So like wandering. Is the player being chased, because once you have the doorknob, the entity will chase the player nonstop. For example, let me explain. So this is the doorknob right here. We have it so that when the entity spawn, so right now it's not chasing you, it's just wandering around. But the lead designer wanted so that it's over here. If the lead designer wanted so that when the player pick up the doorknob, the entity then start chasing you non-stop. And as you can see here, it will start chasing you non-stop. There you go. And you can see it now because you got the doorknob. For some reason, that's what we wanted it to be done. Or instead of spawning it and picking the door up, you can pick up the doorknob and it will chase you right away as well. It did not spawn that time for some reason. Really weird bug that is only consistent in the test map, but not in the actual map. I don't know why. But you see there, yeah. So it's chasing you right away. Once it gets you, you're dead. So now, how do I program the entity to play the animation to attack you? Right. So let me show you how that works, if I can find it. It is, I think, right here. So green is me, orange is a different developer, pink is a different developer. So we have a lot of developers working on the same code, but if you see all green, it's mostly done by me. So that proves that I'm the one who did the AI program. I thought I just figured that out. Point that out. So the player kill animation logic. This is called from the BP kill player. So basically, if I were to search up BP kill, this blueprint here is done by. So this right here is done by John, a different programmer. Then I just came in, I did the rest. So basically, the way this works is if a player overlaps this red thing, it kills the player. Basically, it kills the player. It reset the mirror value, mirror place, all that other stuff to 0, and it caused this here. So how did this overlay or overlap gets put into the entities? Very simple. I just go to the BP entity and I just place it right here. So as you can see, that red box right here. So basically, instead of using event hit on this entity, I just use a red box that the other developer made. So once this overlaps the player, it checks if it's the pawn. If it is, kill player logic, go back to here. Then what it does is it gets the first person camera. It sets the location of the camera's Z value to 15. And then it basically gets the mesh of the entity, this guy right here. And it sets the value of the Z, the positioning of the mesh here to 30, so move it up a little bit. And why is that important? Because if I did not have these two code, right? Let me go ahead and yeah, I think these two code. This one what matters well, but let me just get rid of this so you can see what I mean. Oh, if I quit. So I press play, I spawn the entity, so when it kills you, without those two logic, this is what it looks like. It did not spawn again. Alright, so if yeah, see? You see how the entity's face is not in the face of the character when they get killed? That's because I don't have the two logic. So let me just spawn it again, get killed. Let's see if that's consistent. Alright. Boom. Alright, that right there does not look good visually. So that's why I have it so these two logic make it so that the entity is consistently entity's face is consistently shown in front of the player when they get caught. So now, if where is the entity at? There we go. If I look away, right? If I get caught, there we go. See? So the entity's face is always showing up. So that's what the logic does visually. And then I have another logic where it just forces the player to look at the entity. Basically, it just grabs the camera of the player, first person player, and it just forces to look at the entity pretty much. This is what it does, okay? So it gets the active location, which is south, and it interprets the camera rotation to look at this actor, which is this gentleman, and it just sets the controller rotation on a event tick by 0.001. And then they disable the first person input the controller, so you can't move when you're getting killed. And then the entity is set to visible, so now you can see the entity, right? And they also disable the movement of the entity, so that way it does not move around. In a way, it kind of turns off the behavior tree here, so the behavior tree is not constantly doing the wandering, because you want the entity to be playing the animation, not wandering, doing the animation, doing the killing of the player. And then it stops all animation, so it stops like the walking animation, it stops the wandering animation of the entity, and it plays the killing animation. Okay. Oh, actually, not this one. This one is the one where it stops all the players' animation, like the main character, and then it plays the main character animation where they're putting their hands up and they're protecting themselves from getting killed or whatever it is. This is the one that stops all the entities animation and plays the murder and animation where it grabs the player, right? And it basically get the, let's see here. Yeah, so basically this right here, it just makes it so the mesh of this entity here, doing the animation that is being played is moving towards this first person character. So imagine, so the way the animator has the entity being set in this case is when you play the kill animation, which is this right here. Oops, not that one actually. Right here. So as you can see, it plays a little bit from behind the front. So I want this entity to move forward towards the player if the player is right here, okay? So the way I have to do that was set it so that way it lerp the mesh, which is this right here. Or in other words, it move this mesh towards the first person character, doing the animation of doing this animation right here. So that way you have the entity coming towards you as it's killing you, if that makes any sense. And then I placed the depth function that the audio engineer did for playing the sound. Yeah, that's pretty much explain how the entity works. So just to recap everything, we have it so the entity spawns, If you use the right mouse button, you can see it as well, but it will constantly chase you. If you don't use the right mouse button or use the eyeball superpower, it won't chase you, but it will wander around the maps. So you do have to be careful where it is because you don't want to just overlap or touch it because then you'll die. So it's up there right now, I believe so. Yeah, there it is. Oh, it's coming. All right. So a player will have to constantly looking at the mirror, figure out where they are. Otherwise, they'll get killed. And navigate to the map, trying to pick up objects such as, let's see here. Yeah, they'll have to pick up object like Matchbox, which is over there. Which is I did not do the programming for that. Somebody else did, so you can pick that up. And don't get killed by the entity. So it's wandering around now. Where is it at? Don't know where it is. Quite scary playing against my own AI. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Oh, there we go. Oh, something broke. Yes, something broke. Yeah, I don't know what happened. But anyway, that is it on how I programmed the entity. It's a lot of stuff. It's not a lot of stuff just for one person. One one AI. Yeah, so you can see that it's crazy. All right, cool. Well, see you guys later. Take care.